Hello, this is In the Truth About News. I'm your host, Keith Lander. Now, you can reach us at, matter of fact, you subscribe down at the bottom of the screen. You hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss an episode. Also on YouTube, just go to The Truth About News, and you can probably type in my name, Keith Lander, and it'll pop up. And we're also on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page. It's in my name, just Keith Lander. That's it. That's all you got to remember. And it'll pop up on Facebook. And we encourage you to share the show out, subscribe. We're trying to grow this show. You know what I mean? We don't take any corporate monies. This is a grassroots, and I mean really grassroots effort to get information out, to inform folks, and to let you know what's taking place that other news outlets are not really focusing in on. So, first story of the day. You remember when President Zelensky went to the White House, and he met with Donald Trump and some of his cabinet folk, and they had this big thing about a suit. You know what I mean? President Zelensky didn't wear a suit, and I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but don't hold me to that. But anyway, he didn't have a suit, and he had a very good reason for that, because his country is at war, and he usually wear his war attire to support his country. And, you know, apparently Donald Trump and a couple of Donald Trump's henchmen and J.D. Vance, you know, they wanted to ridicule the man about a suit. Now, the man trying to save his country from the invasion of Russia, and they're going to talk about a suit. Well, did you see Elon Musk at the White House when he was there, when his little boy was there? Did you see him? Elon Musk? You see what kind of attire he had? He had on an old hat, old t-shirt, and overcoat. Did anybody ask Elon Musk why didn't he wear, as they say, the proper attire to the White House? Nope. Didn't say a word, did they? Did you see Kid Rock? Kid Rock was just at the White House, and he looked like a circus clown in some kind of outfit. Did you hear anybody say anything about Kid Rock's attire? Nope. Neither did I. Ask yourself why. If Kid Rock can go to the White House looking like a clown, right? And Kid Rock probably knows less about government than an eighth grader. You know what I mean? He's an old time, washed up, wannabe rock and roll singer, right? And so he goes there looking like a clown. Nobody said anything. Elon Musk goes there, you know, looking like he just got off work from a factory job. You know what I mean? No put down on people working in the factory. But most of the time it's hot in the factory, and you wear your t-shirts and some jeans and you're going in there. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to relate to that. I ain't putting down people who work in factories, but that's what he look like. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was all to do about nothing. They tried to embarrass this man. And the only reason why they tried to embarrass Zelensky is because in 2016, Donald Trump called Zelensky and asked him to find some dirt on Hillary Clinton. And he refused. And Donald Trump is mad at the man. He'll be mad with him until the day he dies, because that's the way Donald Trump works. He's vindictive. You know, he's always trying to get back at somebody. You know what I mean? That's all it was. It wasn't nothing about that. You know what I mean? The United States has been helping folks protect their country for years, NATO countries. And that's what the United States should be and continue to do with Ukraine. So let's move on. Now, this next story, I thought it was a false story, because when I read the headlines, it says Trump, USDA cuts 553,000 pounds of food to the food banks. And I said, that can't be right. So looking into it, sure enough, this is out of Cleveland, Ohio. The shelves of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank will be emptier after the U.S. Department of Agriculture quietly canceled 53,000 pounds of food that was expected to help those facing food insecurity. Now, it goes on to say, the food bank learned Tuesday that it was a victim once again of funding cuts under Trump administration. 20 semi-truck loads of food worth $1 million for emergency food assistance program has been canceled. Now, folks, we talking about feeding folks who don't have much. $1 million of food was left in these trucks to spoil. Donald Trump he is the president of the United States. But anybody who make a decision to not provide for those who have less shouldn't be nowhere running this country. Donald Trump, he's evil. He's just evil. How evil can you get when you stop trucks of food headed to food banks to feed those who are less fortunate? And on top of that, the cuts come on top of the recent elimination of local food purchase assistance program earlier this month. And that removed another 1 million pounds of food intended for the state of Ohio. And also the Second Harvest, which is in Dayton, Ohio, the Second Harvest Food Bank of Clark and Champaign and Logan counties also announced that their shipment has been canceled. So this went around the country, food being canceled. And you say that this is a Christian nation? You say that Donald Trump is a Christian? Well, he must have forgot. Jesus said, what you do to the least of thee, you do to me. What you do to the least of thee, you do to me. We talking about feeding kids. We talking about feeding hungry adults. And you say, oh, well, they got to go for their own. That's not how government works. Government don't work like a company. Companies are set up for profit, to get as much profit as they can. United States government was set up for the people, by the people, of the people. That's all people. The poor, the rich, the middle income, and those who falls in between there. The government is supposed to help people, not hurt people. Help. You know what I mean? They're not even getting close to it. And y'all cheering this nonsense. You cheer if you see a little kid that the lunch program getting cut out, trying to be cut out, which is Trump administration is trying to do. So come on, y'all. As a matter of fact, the Second Harvest is also navigating the end to the LFPA program, which will erase in June. Now, with those two factors, the impact of the Second Harvest is cost them $453,000 in food. So, folks, we're talking about feeding folks. Food that was already bought and paid for, going to the food banks. Donald Trump stopped it. What kind of man is this? What kind of man is Donald Trump to stop food that's already been paid for, going to food banks to help the less fortunate, the men, women, and children, especially the children? And he said, don't give it to them. That's the devil. And I don't give a damn what you say. It's the devil. Donald Trump actions are equatable to the devil. That's who we got in the White House. And I don't give a damn if you agree with me or not. But that's the bottom line. And then I read another article. It says the USDA plans big cuts to school food programs. And I took my glasses off and put them back on, just like this here, and said, I had to read this again. It said the Department of Agriculture cuts over $1 billion in funding aimed at helping schools and food bank purchase food from local farmers. Can you believe that? They don't even want the kids to eat. What kind of government is this? This is worse than communism. Communism, they will give you a piece of bread. Here, they taking the bread from you. Don't want you to eat. Shoot, I might as well go over to South Korea, North Korea. Kim Jong-un will give me a piece of bread, maybe a bottle of water. Huh? This government is cutting $1 billion of funding for school lunch programs. This is stuff y'all voted for when y'all voted this devil in, this Donald Trump. That's what you got. And it's not only him. It's the Republican Party. The Republican Party is propping this man up. All those folks in there in the Republican Party, all those folks in the government, in Congress, are propping Donald Trump up. Donald Trump couldn't do this without the Republican Party patting him on the back. And we got one right here in Dayton, Ohio, Representative and Congressman Michael Turner. He's congressman over in Ohio over the 10th district, which is a district which he represents me. Right now, you've seen all those town halls, right? You've seen all those town halls where Republicans are getting earful. Well, not Donald Trump, Mike Turner. When you gonna have a town hall? Where you at, Mike Turner? We ain't seen you, ain't heard from you. When you gonna have a town hall? Because here's what we need to understand from you, Mike Turner, is that that House budget plan. You voted for it, Mike Turner. And you know what that House budget plan calls for? It calls for ripping away Medicaid coverage for more than 200,000 people here in Turner's area. It also would hike the Affordable Care Act insurance premium by hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And it also kicks off more than 100,000 people, including kids and seniors and veterans, off of SNAP food assistance. Mike Turner voted in favor of that. And those numbers are what would happen to the folks right here in Mike Turner's district. So Mike Turner don't give a damn about y'all, whether or not you get food. He don't give a damn whether or not you get medical treatment. He don't give a damn if the kids get food. He don't care because his vote told you he don't care. Now, Mike Turner, hopefully somebody know Mike Turner out there. Maybe y'all can call his office. I'll give you the number. His number is area code 202-225-6465. I'll give you Mike Turner's number again. And you call him and ask him, why did you vote to kick off folks from Medicaid coverage for more than 200,000 Ohioans right here in your district, Mike Turner? We talking about your district, Mike Turner. You voted to harm people in your district. You got to be ashamed of yourself. And I remember you when you was the mayor of the city of Dayton. You know what I mean? You was halfway decent man then, but when you went to Washington and you got down on your knees and Trump turned around and tooted up his behind to you and you kissed Trump on his ass, your brain must have went into Donald Trump's ass to do something like this. Come on, y'all. Look here. Let me give you the number again. You can call Mike Turner's office. Folks living in Ohio, 10th District. It's 202-225-6465. Call Mike Turner and ask him, why are you hurting the folks in your district? And I tell you why he's doing it. It's because Donald Trump wanted him to do it. And Mike Turner's so stupid and so cowardly that when he was over the Armed Services chairman, soon Donald Trump took over, and as soon as the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, took over as the Speaker of the House, they kicked Mike Turner right off that doggone thing. Kicked him right in the butt and told him, get over there and sit down and shut up. And yet you still gonna vote for this nonsense. Come on, Mike Turner. Man, you supposed to be better than that. Man. All right, folks, let me tell you this about this Doge with this Elon Musk fellow. Let's get to that. Let's get to that before we move on. All right. Now, the U.S. budget deficit surges past $1 trillion, less than halfway through the fiscal year. So Doge and Elon Musk and all them other clowns, they finding a lot of savings, ain't you? They ain't finding jack. You know why they ain't finding jack? Because if there's fraud, anytime the government finds fraud, and that goes through the inspector generals, there's people who are prosecuted. How many people have you seen prosecuted? Elon Musk suggests to be prosecuted? None. Because you know why? It's a scam. Doge is a scam. Elon Musk is a scam. Donald Trump is a scam and the devil. Elon Musk is his assistant devil. And the Republican Party is the assistant to the assistant devils. They're all in there together. All of them, including you too, Mike Turner. And when I see you, Mike Turner, I'm going to tell you about it. Hopefully I see you soon at the town hall if you got enough cojones to have one, but I don't think you do. I think you're going to run with your tail between your legs. You're not going to have a town hall, Mike Turner, because you're too cowardly to do it. But anyway, the U.S. budget deficit surged past $1 trillion mark in February, less than 6 months into the fiscal year 2025. Now, folks, let me tell you this. The budget deficits curve when tax revenues is lower than the amount being spent. Now, why is there a gap between the money that's coming in and going out? The calculation is primarily influenced by policy set by the president and Congress. So Donald Trump and his Republican cronies, They are renting up the debt. They ain't saving nobody no money. That's a scam too. All right. Now, let's say one more thing, folks, then I'm done, about these tariffs. All right. And what Trump is trying to do with all these tariffs. He's putting these tariffs on all these countries, trying to say folks gonna buy more cars here in the United States. Well, in an interview, ABC News, Trump says
the automakers are going to make a lot of money, the American automakers, or international automakers, if you're talking about they're going to build in the United States. The people that are going to make money are people that manufacture cars in the United States. Outside of the United States, that's going to be up to them. I don't care too much about that.
Let me explain something to y'all what this fool just said. You know, here's the thing. There's no such thing as a fully American-made car. Now, here's the thing. So, these cars he's talking about, the cars are assembled here in the United States, but the parts are imported in, right? So there's estimated as 30,000 parts to make up a car, right? There's no car totally parts and assembled made here in the United States because they don't have the buildings or the wherewithal to do it. That's why they get the parts from imports, because it's cheaper. If you're going to build a car right here in the United States with the parts and assemble all of it together, it'll cost you almost $10,000 more than what the prices are now, because you got to pay the workers, right? And you got to deal with the union, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? Now, let's talk about the unions. I'm glad I bring that union up. A lot of folks like to hate on the union. The same folks hating on the union are the same folks who made big money off the union. Now, once they retire, get all the big union benefits from it. Now they say, I'm against the union. You're a hypocrite, is what you is. So let me move on, folks. I got one more article. Now, the government, now according to this Kevin O'Leary, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this Kevin O'Leary. He's one of the persons that be on this show called Shark Tank, where people go and they present their business and they want the sharks to buy into the business and this kind of thing. Well, this Kevin O'Leary made a statement on CNN. He said, the United States, we never audited government for 100 years. We never audited government for 100 years. That's what this Kevin O'Leary said. Now, he may know a little bit about business, but he don't know a damn thing about government, and I'll prove it. Now, the inspector generals, they are the ones who conduct the audits. They've been conducting audits ever since 1978, the Inspector General Act. That's when that was passed. That was passed because Richard Nixon had done what he did back in 72, and they came up and they put all these mechanisms in place to catch fraud and abuse. All right. Now, the Inspector Generals, they release a semi-annual report to Congress every year to let Congress know where there are egregious problems at, and the Inspector General can file a indictment against those who are engaged in fraud in the government. All right. Now, the Council of Inspector Generals for Integrity and Efficiency issued an annual report. In 2023, that report, the work was done by inspectors, led to 4,000 prosecutions and identified nearly $93.1 billion in potential savings. You get it now? This is the group that does what Elon Musk and him clowns are supposedly doing. Elon Musk and them is not doing this because Donald Trump fired all the inspector generals. He fired 17 of them, right? These are the people who had the expertise to find fraud and abuse. Elon Musk got them people on his staff are just coders. They code stuff into a computer system. They don't even know how to read the reports. So let's move on. Now, in 1921, Congress founded the Government Accountability Office, which is a nonpartisan group of 3,000 employees to investigate public funds and evaluate federal programs. So we have all this stuff already, folks. And let me give you an update. what these people found in 2024. In 2024, remember the COVID funds? The FBI wrote in January 2024 that the federal agencies found a combination of a $300 billion in fraud, pandemic recovery. See, that making it the largest fraud case in history. Medicaid, Medicare, and other human service funds, the Department of Health and Human Services Inspector General said in December 24 that it had found $7 billion in expected recoveries resulting in investigations and audits, and 1,548 criminal and civil enforcement action. So these people are the experts. Elon Musk and his cronies are scam artists. The government already has accountability departments already in place to find fraud, and they've been doing a very good job. So if I know this, why don't these Congress people know this and share it with the public? Huh? If I know they got all these accountability things here and people going to jail and they find it all, why don't they share this? Why haven't you seen this on the news? Because you won't. You're only going to see it right here on The Truth About News. We tell it like it is. We tell it straight. We tell the truth. You know what I mean? But we don't care if you agree or don't agree. It's the truth. So I'm going to pause it right there. And like I say, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it, right? So until next time, may God bless you and your family.